Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Swarms of the Multiverse, offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms. Plus, you get instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new Demiplanes. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing one of our books using the links in the video description. Before we talk about the new releases this week, let's talk about this week's exclusive Splinterverse discount. It's quite the pickle, literally. That's the name of the book, and it is a Salt Marsh adventure where you can save the day at a seaside tavern in 4 different encounters, and it's by Trevor Sala, and it's normally $4.95, but you're going to get 80% off, which is a huge discount, and all proceeds go to Extra Life to benefit the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So not only are you getting a great deal at that 80% off, but you're going to be helping Extra Life, which is a really cool organization as well. So, and you can see just from looking at these pictures, it's got really fun layout, looks easy to read. It says, enjoy food, drink, gossip, a darts competition, and maybe a rousing bar fight. Participate in a gambling night. Watch out for pirates. Stop a dark ritual to save an innocent and yourselves. Come to the rescue when there's an accident by the pier and the predators arrive. So there's 4 linked encounters around a pierside tavern for characters levels 5 to 10. So you can play them individually, you can scatter them through another campaign, or you can link them all together for a 4 to 6 hour adventure. Very flexible, especially for such a great price on a book. It's 54 pages. You've got various maps, it looks like, that come with it, and printer friendly as well. So really cool that you've got all this information. I mean, I think this is going to be a really fun adventure. People, enjoy taverns, but this gives you a lot more going on there. Sometimes it's just kind of basic what's happening in the tavern. So I like that there's a lot of encounter opportunities here. So let's take a look inside. So you can see introduction to people, adventure hooks, flowchart, and then you've got the different encounters. And I like how deeply they're going into these encounters and spending time on them. So they're almost like mini adventures. And then you've got some recurring creatures and some other stat block information handouts, and then your maps, of course. So very fun. And then looking through here, so it gives you that background we talked about, even adjusting it, which is nice. I like that they've got that information for you. Some of the characters are the tavern staff, so if you need a tavern, even though this says Salt Marsh, you could place this tavern somewhere else if you need to. You could always use tavern staff, right? So there's a lot of people here, especially like a sort of seafaring town, having both pirate NPCs and tavern NPCs in one book is really helpful, because you can use them for just a nautical adventure, use the pirate characters, or just a tavern, use the tavern people. So lots of options. And you can see here the flow chart, so you can go pretty much any direction, which is nice. Here's Moonshine. Gives you, this is all gorgeous looking, right? And you're getting to see 10 of the 54 pages. Got Tavern Rumors, rewards for the darts champion. I like all of it. So, and I like that the rumors are written as dialogue. So the first one is, yeah, this place is popular, but this is the most crowded I've ever seen it. folks have come from miles around to support their local darts champions. So you get that kind of feel of somebody actually saying the rumor. Sometimes rumor tables are not that way, and that's fine. It's just, if you want to make a dialogue, then you've got to really improvise, and not every DM is ready to do that. So it's cool that this one has, the dialogue already there for you. So yeah, then scrolling back up, we'll look at, I love these maps. They've got multiple maps. You've got the surrounding area, the ground floor, and then the second floor, which is the inn of that tavern. So let's look at some of the adventure hooks. So consider using one of the following adventure hooks to introduce the events of the snapping line. So in progress, the characters are in Saltmarsh for another reason, and the events herein are interspersed with other adventures. Downtime, the adventurers are here spending their downtime, and the events just happen to coincide with their stay. Or yo-ho, yo-ho, the characters have heard rumors of pirate activity near the area and have a vested interest either for or against it. And that's just 3. They've got 2 more for you, and then it even has a sidebar here telling you how to move it from Saltmarsh to wherever you want it to be. So it tells you kind of the different things that you would need to make sure the area has, or what kind of information you need to know if you're going to move it outside of the Forgotten Realms. Well, Saltmarsh in particular, I should say. But so here it says, rough crowd. Under normal circumstances, the dart game and the rest of the evening goes smoothly, but should the adventurers intentionally start a bar fight, it stirs the crowd into frenzy, represented by 5 bar fight swarms, plus Frummel, who will try to knock unconscious whomever seems to be causing the most trouble. A fight may also break out if the adventurers are caught cheating and are unable or unwilling to defuse the situation. And then it shows you how to adjust the encounter, which I love. So it says to make it very weak, you just remove the bar fight swarms, or to make it weak, you just remove 2 of them. To make it very strong, add another one. So very cool. This is nice how they've got it all separated out into different things. So this is like, I think 4 or 5 pages just for this one encounter, which is the first one here. I love it. I think you should come here and read about it, get to know it, and keep in mind, when you click that link in the timestamp, the very first one for Quite the Pickle, it's going to take you to the checkout page with that discount. Is going to put it in your cart. You can always back up and look at the book more, or click on the book's title from the cart to look at it more, and then remove it from your cart if you decide you don't want it. But 80% off of $4.95, that's amazing price, especially when you're going to be helping charity at the same time. So gotta grab it while the discount's still going on. These discounts, they only last usually about a week. So when we talk about it on this show on Friday, you usually only have a few more days before that discount has expired. So take advantage of it. Grab Quite the Pickle before it's too late at this discount price, and enjoy. Next, we've got the Adventurer's Guide to the Bronze Age. Additional player options for 5th edition and presumably, Bronze Age settings. So you've got a background and race, 5 new subclasses, 15 new spells, armor, and weapon options. It's got a suggested price of $10 on Pay What You Want, 14 pages, and it's by Matthew Miller. And let's take a look inside. So really fun. I was noticing the layout and the artwork. I like this style they're using for the artwork. Very, very cool. And it looks like Matthew is also the artist. So that's awesome to see that level of talent. I wish I could create art this way. Maybe someday I'll study and try to create something. But it's always cool when the author is also the artist. So fun stuff. You've got background called the Faded, then a racial option called Tempestborn, and then 5 subclasses, one for Barbarian, Path of the Maelstrom, Cleric, Odyssey Domain, Druid, Circle of the Tides, Ranger, Conclave of Sea Heralds, and Warlock, the Titan Patron, and Pact of the Scourge, plus new spells on armor, etc. So in the preview, you get to see a bit of the background, and this is for something called the Faded. It says, you did not choose this life, fate has chosen it for you, whether by a local prophetess or an ancient book heralding your arrival, it seems that destiny has already staked its claim on your life, or so it seems. You know not what the future holds for you, only that some believe you are destined for greatness, be it for good or for evil. And then you get history plus either arcana, insight, or religion on your proficiencies. And then you get another artisan tool or musical instrument proficiency. And then you get a language of your choice. And then equipment, you get musical instrument, traveler's clothes, trinket, and a pouch containing gold. And then there's the prophetic origin table here. Various options, but the first one is: a prophet once wrote about your arrival in an ancient manuscript. So this could be really fun to play. Ancient Greek and Roman mythology has a lot of, it was fate stuff, right? And so if you're playing Theros or some sort of setting where you want to have that kind of heavy influence of like fate and the future and all that stuff, you could really use this background for that. And of course, having yourself written about as a prophecy is one way to do that. So that's cool. And that was just one out of the 8 options. And then it's got a feature, person of interest. Due to the prophetic nature of your fate, many people outside your social sphere are drawn to you. You can oftentimes use this to your advantage, but almost just as often, it can bring you unwanted attention. The status affords you ease in requesting an audience with local prophets, mystics, and spiritual leaders interested in your fate. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like the theme of this. I've always liked Theros and the Bronze Age stuff anyway, but it's exciting to see all these options. They really do. Even, just the name, Circle of Tides and stuff. That really connects to that time period to me. So hopefully you'll find some good stuff in here for you. So look for it in the links in the video description under Adventurer's Guide to the Bronze Age and give it a click. Next, we've got the Azer. It's a playable race from Serious Wizness, and it is 95 cents only for 2 pages. That's a really good price. And it says, the multiverse is teeming with heroes of all kinds. Serious Wizness presents the Azer, a new elemental playable race option. Beings of living fire, Azer heroes call upon the power of the elemental plane of fire to scorch their foes. Despite their squat stature, Azers as a people forged to not just withstand some of the harshest conditions in the multiverse, but to thrive in them, stand tall against any challenge that presents itself. So, fun idea, the Azer is in the monster manual, I believe, and it's cool to see it converted into a race that you can play, and the artwork is really good here. I enjoy this artwork here. You get to see the whole thing in the preview too, so you can really see if this race is going to work for you. But yeah, I love this artwork. Really cool. So looking at some of the traits here, one of them is illumination. Your body sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10. You can dim this light as a bonus action, causing your body to shed dim light in 5-foot radius instead. And you can also brighten it to restore it to its normal level. Living fire, you don't need to eat or drink. You also don't need to sleep. However, when you take a long rest, you must spend at least 6 hours in an inactive emotionless state. You've got natural armor with your skin. You've got Inner Flame. When you reach 5th level, choose one of the Inner Flame options below. Thereafter, you can use a bonus action to cause your Inner Flame to burn bright, gaining the benefits of the chosen option. So then they have several options, including Heated Body. Your skin becomes hot to the touch when a creature touches or hits you with a melee attack while within 5 feet of you. You can use your reaction to roll a number of d10s equal to half your proficiency bonus and force the creature to make a dex saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus and your constitution modifier. And then the creature takes damage equal to the roll's total on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. And then you get some additional light from your illumination. And then heated weapons, a metal melee weapon of your choice that you are holding bursts into flames, causing it to shed bright light in a 20-foot radius. Or dim light for another 20. The first time on each of your turns that you hit and deal damage to a creature or object with the weapon, roll a number of d6s equal to half your proficiency bonus. The target takes additional fire damage equal to the roll's total. If you aren't holding the weapon at the end of your turn, the flames that emanate from it die out and reignite the next time you hold it. And then there's some feats related to the race as well. So yeah, fun stuff. I like when people convert things that are in the monster manual into playables, because people are always asking for that. And this is a fun one for sure. So check it out under Azer in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got the Barovia Gazetteer Collected Edition. And it's from Mark Singer, $20.95 for 135 pages. And the individual gazetteers, which we've covered a few on this channel, they're a set of guidebooks basically containing detailed setting information, new encounters, and additional resources for Curse of Strahd, or anything else that you might do in Barovia. So it's got character generation information, adventure hooks, travel encounters, complete guides to all the locations in every chapter of Curse of Strahd, new rules for dark gifts, lycanthropy, new method for lifting the Curse of Strahd, 2 new epilogues, new and revised handouts, stat blocks for all the creatures. I mean, just a lot of stuff going on in here to help you with Curse of Strahd, or just, like I said, adventuring in Barovia. So you can see quite a lot of material. All the different sections are in here. You've got your appendices with lifting the curse, the gear, NPCs, handouts, etc., maps. And so it goes right into session 0, characters, and a lot of location hooks. So under Village of Barovia, it says the first settlement the party visits in Barovia. The hook is a family member, mentor, or friend disappeared years ago, last seen heading into Barovia. So that would be, a good compelling reason for the party to go to Barovia. I like that there's different character hooks here that you can weave in if you want. It goes into character leveling, and then some big adventure hooks for the beginning, as well as some design notes. So just really supporting you with your Curse of Strahd or other stuff in Barovia with a ton of material. I mean, 135 pages. That's a huge amount of information to support you. So let's look at some of these adventure hooks. So it says Mysterious Visitor, so it's talking about the adventure hooks from the Curse of Strahd. So Mysterious Visitors has problems, and it says it's about where it's sending the characters. It also promotes some highly problematic stereotypes and sends the characters to evict the Vistani from town under the threat of violence. Don't use this hook. So, that's good, especially if you're a new DM. It's kind of telling you which adventure hooks in the published module might be a challenge for you. That you might get some pushback on. So it talks about all of the different ones. So Werewolves in the Mist is the best of the lot, sending the characters on a seemingly unrelated adventure that actually ties into the main plot, but how many level 1 characters with no magic items between them will answer the call to hunt werewolves? Conversely, if the characters receive the faction equipment, especially the Harper's silvered weapons and spell scrolls, they will be overpowered for the early levels of the adventure, and it will be harder to establish the horror. So it says all the existing hooks are either painfully obvious, badly misleveled, or offensively stereotyped, if not all of the above. This new adventure hook is provided to address these problems. So you see, they're helping you, giving you alternatives to what's in the book, and then they begin the People Eater, which is the suggested hook to get you started with Curse of Strahd. So we're just scratching the surface here. There's a ton of stuff because this is all collected. These came out individually, and now they're in a single volume, which is great. So check it out under Barovia Gazetteer in the links below and give it a click. Next, we got Bloodied and Bruised, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft Edition from Anne Gregerson, $2.95 for 28 pages. So this is continuing the series of really helpful additional traits, actions that you can add to your monsters to bring back some of that 4th edition feel of the bloodied condition. These are like death throes, all kinds of things in this book that you can do to make the process of a creature going from full health down to 0 interesting. It shouldn't just be, oh, okay, we're just hitting it, it's dead. There should be some consequences for getting it to half health or other things. Something should appear different about it. And a lot of times you don't know the HP if you're a player of your monster that you're fighting against. So having this is also a way to not be meta about telling the players, hey, this thing you're fighting is starting to really wobble here. It's got some problems, and so the series, which is going through all the monsters in these different wizard supplements, is super helpful because you can just have that supplement plus this one, and you've got everything you need to pick any monster in that supplement. In this case, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, and then you can look it up in this book, and you've got your new abilities, different death throws, all kinds of stuff that you can apply. So in this in the catalog, it talks about the Relentless Slasher creature. So when it reaches 42 HP, it's considered bloodied. So it has extra features. So legendary actions: when first bloodied, the Relentless Killer regains all expended uses of its legendary actions. So that's a bonus for getting there. Like, it's getting that sort of adrenaline rush, right? And it's gonna be able to fight you more because it's knowing that it's losing its health here, and it needs to step it up. Then you've got new abilities like Bloodlust. While bloodied, the Relentless Killer deals 1 extra die of damage with its melee weapon attacks against other bloodied creatures. Then it gets another one called Cold-Hearted Killer. While bloodied, the Relentless Killer has advantage on all attack rolls it makes on its turn, but only if they are made against the same creature. If the first attack made with advantage kills the targeted creature, the Relentless Killer cannot make any more attacks. So that one's cool because it's got some nuanced things that happen. If it happens to kill a creature, then it's kind of worse off because it can't do any more attacks. But it can get some advantage if it's focusing on a single creature. So really cool. And that's just one. They've got Starspawn Emissary example here. Let's look inside. You can see here all the new creatures. So lots of those. And then any that are referenced from the monster manual are also covered. So, Anne does a really good job of making sure that no stone is unturned. If there's something mentioned in the supplement, you've got it covered. So it's not like, well, it gave me part of it, but not all of it. No, it's all here. So you've got everything you need. And it's really cool too, because you can see the list of the creatures, and then you can see like some of the sort of sub stat blocks, I guess you'd call them, that are also in those entries. So you would get, you get the Starspawn Emissary, but then you also get the lesser and the greater, right? So no stone unturned, which I love. And then, of course, you get all the information on death throws and how things work. But just looking here at Brain in a Jar, when it's bloodied at 27 hit points, the brain has the following features. So when first bloodied, the brain's mind ability is automatically recharged. And then it gets a new ability called Spell Soaring. While bloodied, when the brain casts a spell, it can fly up to its movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So that's helpful, especially if it's trying to get away. I mean, if you're at half health, you might want to be getting out of town, right? Get away from these pesky adventurers. So really love this. I always think that it's cool what ends up to and providing this value to people for their existing supplements. That's such a steal of a price. I mean, $2.95 for these things is just astonishing, because this takes a lot of work. I mean, Anne has to look at every single creature, really think about what's going to be balanced for this one's bloodied condition, and what other things am I going to do with this creature, right? So it takes a lot of time, and to just get 50% of $2.95, that's not a ton of money. So it's really great that Anne is offering this value to you. So support that, and also check out some of the other ones down here. There's a lot of them. This week, Anne also released the one for Strixhaven. So you could get either the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft one, or the Strixhaven one, or some of the older ones. There's even an existing bundle for all the Bloodied and Bruised. So if you haven't gotten any yet, or I think this all but maybe one of them, because I don't see the first one in here. If you haven't gotten those, although it's in the picture, maybe it's just not listed. So yeah, you get all of those in one go, and that's great. Only $5 to get all of them. That's again a steal. It's so kind of Anne to offer this value at such an economical price for you. So take advantage of it, and look for Bloodied and Bruised in the video description links and give it a click. Next we have Chimeric Bloodline, a sorcerer's origin based on the druidcraft prestidigitation and thaumaturgy cantrips from Dark Abyss Keeper. Prestidigitation, man, that word is always a challenge for me. But it's a suggested price of $1. And it says it draws their power from multiple different lineages. Their family tree is more complicated than they could hope to explain. And it's, this is part of a series Dark Abyss Keeper has been doing since I don't know how long, but they've been taking these cantrips and building whole subclasses around it, which I think is a really fun concept. And we've looked at least one of those. I don't know, maybe more than one. And I've always enjoyed the ones we've looked at. So you've got something called Mongrel Magic, Hybrid Vigor, Ephemeral Affinity. I mean, all kinds of cool names already. Loyal Mutt. So it says starting at first level, you are able to instinctively dip your toes in every kind of magic. You learn those 3 cantrips we mentioned earlier, and they count as sorcerer spells. And you learn an additional spell from any spell list, and then you repeat that at 3rd, 5th, 9th, and 14th level. And then you're also getting at first level additional health and vitality. Your hit point maximum increases by 1 and increases again whenever you gain a level in the class. And you have advantage on saving throws against becoming poisoned or diseased, and on saving throws that require you to be a specific creature type. And then let's look at Loyal Mutt. So that's the 14th level. From 14th level, you learn to call out through the branches of your family tree to summon a very good boy. As a bonus action, you may spend 5 sorcery points to summon a dire wolf to a space within 30 feet of you that obeys your commands. Roll on the affinity table and make the following changes to your Mutt. The Mutt's creature type becomes the rolled creature type. The Mutt's bite attack deals an additional 2d6 damage of the rolled damage type, and the Mutt's hit points are 5 times your sorcery level. Your Mutt shares your initiative and takes his turn immediately after yours. You may choose to instead spend 9 sorcery points when summoning your Mutt. If you do, it appears with the effects of a heritage form for 1 minute. And then it talks about the heritage forms down here. So just a lot of interesting things going on in this subclass. And here's that affinity table, so you can see kind of the different damage types and creature types all lined up for you. Very cool, fun ideas. I always enjoy, basing things on these cantrips, because the cantrips are interesting and creative in their own right. So then when you base something on it, it just furthers that. So check it out under Chimeric Bloodline in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Faunen, Dog Races by Zrave and Apocalypse. It's $1.99, pay what you want for 4 pages. It says they're anthropomorphic animal races designed to be included as player options in any campaign setting. There's ideas for culture and societies to help with establishing these races in your campaign. The Lupus are a race of humanoid hounds. As there are many breeds, there are many variations to the Lupus. You can be a shepherd, retriever, pit bull, or even a wolf. There's also a half Lupus who have predominantly humanoid features with a few dog features. So very cool. Let's look inside. So it starts with the Lupus, goes into the different details of them, and I love that there's all these different, breeds, almost like regular dogs, because maybe you're a fan of the pug or the husky or the retriever, and you want to represent that in the game. Especially if it's like your dog, right? You could really kind of show some of the distinct traits of that breed, because you're around it a lot, right? So you know a lot about it. And then here's the half Lupus traits. You get to see the whole book in here, which is really helpful. So looking at the Lupus traits, it's got natural weapons, and then it says knockdown. You can use a bonus action after a successful natural weapon attack to attempt to drag your target to the ground. They must pass a strength saving throw with DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier, or be knocked prone. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on smell. And then there's the sub-races down here. So let's look at Husky. It says cold adaptation. You have resistance to cold damage, and then you have proficiency in the athletic skill because you're energetic, which makes sense. And then the Pug has harmless appearance. On the first round of each combat, enemies with intelligence 3 or higher must make a wisdom saving throw before targeting you with an attack or harmful spell. The DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus and your charisma modifier. On a failed save, that creature can't target you this turn. So basically, emulating that you're underestimated, kind of. And enduring, you have proficiency in the persuasion skill. So yeah, these are cute abilities that tie into the various breeds, which I like. And then you've got your half lupus here as well. So lots to see and enjoy if you want that anthropomorphic race, if you want to play a dog character, or maybe you want to have a dog character with an actual dog as a companion. I mean, there's just so many fun different things that you can do. With this, you could have them battle werewolves. I mean, there's infinite possibilities when you start working on things that are connected to our pets, right? Because we have just so much familiarity that you can then bring to your role play or whatever. So check it out under Faunen in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Guide to the Underdark, Volume 3, Spiders and Driders. Yeah, I think I got confused there for a second, but it looks fun. It's from Scott and Ashley Ropel, and it says, get more spider action with a wide array of unique and interesting stats. And it's $7.49 for 17 pages, and you get 21 new stat blocks, 11 new spiders, 5 new Driders, and 5 new drow. So those are really helpful because there's not a lot of those out there. You get 1 or 2 Driders out there if you're lucky. So having alternatives is really cool. So let's take a look inside. You get really cool artwork to go with this Drider stuff. Here's something called a blade spider, a spitting spider, a bristle spider, spiderling. Yeah, if you want to have a spider themed campaign, even without the Underdark, this would be a good option. And then thinking of the Underdark, of course there are going to be spiders down there. It's their perfect environment. It's super dark, and they can see well in that and go up against whatever prey is down there and weave a web and capture them and all that stuff. And then you've got the drow and the Driders, so pretty cool. It says blade spider. The blade spider's legs are thin and sharp like the edge of a sword. They strike quickly to bring down prey and can use a variety of attacks that range from slashing, swiping, and thrusting. They are typically a dull red color and hide in sand or red dirt. So, and then you've got all their different abilities here. And then the spitting spider has something called Venom Spew, where it's a ranged weapon attack, and when it hits, it does 6 poison damage, and the target must make a con saving throw or become poisoned. So very cool. And then you got the Spiderling, which is a CR 1/2, and it says they're cat-sized spiders that typically attack in groups. They are fast and vicious with their front legs, allowing them to corner prey for feasting. They stalk the darkest corners of the Underdark to prey on unwary travelers. So yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. If you have a campaign that's got a lot of spiders, or you just want to work some spiders into it, this could be an option. And I like that you can read quite a bit of it. So I would encourage you to come read it and see if it's going to work for you. And then grab your own copy. So it's under Guide to the Underdark in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got the Guide to Yokai Part 3, The Dead by John Beardify. And it's $3.19 on Pay What You Want for 11 pages. We've talked about this series before. It's inspired by Japanese myths. And in this particular volume, they have 7 eerie, haunting undead yokai, as well as unique mechanics for 5th edition, including one called Buro, another called Gaki, Itsuki, Onryo, etc. And then there's 4 ghostly magical items with variant curses, and a rogue / cleric subclass called the Exorcist, and it has lots of unique artwork. So let's take a look inside. This is Buro with some, as it said, unique artwork. I like that. And this is a CR 1/8, and then you've got Gaki CR 1/8 as well. Ona CR 3, and Itsuki CR 5. Onryo CR 10, and then the Reiki is CR 12, And Zaziki Warashi is 1/4. And then you get all your treasures here at the end. So yeah, a good mix of CRs, which is always helpful, because you just may, if you only play one campaign, you only have one group that you're playing with, and it takes you a year to get through whatever you're going to get through, it may be a while before you go back to certain CRs, right? So it's important for books to have a mixture, because you just don't know where that DM is going to be and for how long. So I love to see that there's this wide range of CRs in here. So very, very helpful. Let's see what we can read for you. So let's read one of the treasures. So there's the Ow Enden, which is a wondrous item. When lit, this eerie blue lantern sheds bright blue light for 30 feet and dim light for 30 feet beyond. Invisible creatures and objects, as well as creatures and objects on the ethereal plane, are visible within 60 feet of the Ow Enden while it is lit. Creatures and objects on the material plane can interact with creatures and objects on the ethereal plane while within this radius. Nice. So that could be really helpful for the right story. The ethereal plane. Very cool. And, the Radiant Citadel adventure that's coming, I believe that's set in the ethereal. So having an item like that could prove useful. So the Burrow, the spirit of cowardice, these spineless ghosts are born from the spirits of those who lived timid lives or died while their hearts were full of fear. For this reason, Burrow are often found near more powerful undead, as their cowardly presence and shuddering grasp tenderize the prey for more powerful monsters. So sounds interesting. And it's got a shuddering grasp down here, and it makes basically you have to do a strength check, and then on a failure it attaches to you, and then you have to make a strength check every turn. And then while it's attached, you're frightened and your speed is halved, and you have to use your action and your movement speed to move in a random direction. So pretty cool. Feels like it would be like a spirit attacking you. And I like that there's so much in here inspired by Japan. So, you can use it for Karatur, or, anywhere you want to have just a new monster. So I think the series is continuing to be really entertaining. So check it out under Guide to Yokai 3 in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Hill Encounters, Volume 1 from Vertigus Table. And it is 9 pages for $1.99. It says, head for the hills and put toys in your sandbox with this set of integrated random encounters. Filled with boons, pitfalls, and characters rolling on this table can add interest to a journey or send the party off on a whole new direction. And so, you're going to get to find out about things that could be happening in the hills. And they've previously we've covered the Grassland one, I think it was. And it was really cool what we looked at in there, so I'm excited to see what they're doing with the hills. And they also have a video down here that you can check out, and a YouTube channel, so give them a subscribe. But its author is Ryan Doyle, and so you can see here like a table that you can use, and then when you have something, you can go look for more information about it. So we'll read one of these in a minute, but there's some hazards, there's role play prompts. I mean, just a nice diverse set of options, which is what I appreciated about the Grassland one that we looked at. Is some of these areas, they just don't get a lot of love, they don't get a lot of attention for encounters or detailing in the maps, and so to have books like this that are inexpensive on hand to be able to grab a quick encounter, and most DMs can adjust the difficulty on the fly, most experienced DMs can, so you don't have to worry about that too much. I mean, there's books that we've looked at that you can, even bring in actions from to improve the creatures, but just having something. And you could always, wherever there's a bold, where there's a creature, if you're really not experienced at adjusting on the fly, you could basically replace the bold tags with some other monster that is the appropriate CR, right? You might have to tweak the story a little bit, but that's the beauty of supplements like this, is it gives you these things to just pull on the fly. So Tolgod the Hill Giant, a young hill giant named Tolgan, is newly out on his own after being chased off his steading by larger, stronger hill giants who took his food. Though fully grown, he still has a streak of adolescent posturing and seeks approval, often running a hand through his hair and flexing, while pretending to be too cool to care. Small folk who are not sufficiently impressed with him may incur his anger. After witnessing Duwado the Etten and his pet death dog, Tolgod grew jealous and has become fascinated by the idea of capturing and taming an even better companion, an owlbear. And then it says Tolgod may be found, one, either hunting a periton to use it as owlbear bait, or searching the hills for an owlbear, or in a ferocious battle with an owlbear, or playing fetch with his owlbear. Whatever you want it to be here. And you can roll 1d4 to figure that out, or just choose as the DM. And it says the disgraced dwarf noble Emmeline Panner has began for a lucrative side hustle selling Tolgod's nail clippings as a potion ingredient. After a failed attempt at stealing some, she managed to flatter and convince the giant to become a partner in the venture. Tolgod has several nuggets of fool's gold and a genuine potion of hill giant strength to show for his participation in Emily's venture, though neither serves much purpose for him. So yeah, these details, right, they're really good, and they're really different and distinct and interesting. You could just say, oh, there's a hill giant. Oh, his name's Tolgod, right? But this is like, he wants an owlbear. He's got this lady that's trying to take his toe clippings. I mean, this is some serious stuff, and I like it. It's really easy to just say, oh, look up the stat log. Monster Manual 155, and then that's it. That's all you give them, or maybe you give them like a paragraph. But this Vertigus table is giving you multiple paragraphs, multiple ideas, story points. You could just pluck this toenail clipping sales lady out of here and put her somewhere else, if you wanted. I mean, that alone has a lot of value. Not to mention this Etten with a pet death dog that wants an owlbear pet. I mean, that's a whole another thing that you could put somewhere. So use the whole thing, use a piece of it. Whatever you're doing, you're getting value as a DM, which is exciting and what we want to see, right? If we're going to spend money on stuff. And for $1.99, I mean, just the one that we read, I think would be a lot of fun. So imagine what else is waiting for you in there. So you can take a look by clicking the link in the video description under Hill Encounters and give it a click. Next, we've got PSC3, the Demiplane of Ectoplasm. And it's from John Hild, suggested price of $250 for 19 pages. And it says, The Mind's Eye is a series of articles from the later period of the third edition of Dungeons & Dragons, when Wizards of the Coast was releasing expansions online relatively frequently. They were focused on psionic creatures, and most importantly, gem dragons and the deity Sardior. The complete psionic of the same era also heavily featured creatures formed from ectoplasm, and the entire concept was introduced in the Psionics Handbook of 2001. And with the release of Fizzbands, it only made sense to revisit some of these articles to see what could be updated and brought into modern lore seamlessly, because, that book covers a lot of the gem dragons, right? So this is really deep diving into that demiplane. It says it's got a description of the psychoreactive substance known as ectoplasm. It's got a history of the demiplane matched up to the Forgotten Realms calendar. It's got an overview of the layout and entrances to the demiplane, specific locations in the demiplanes such as the Thought Tree, Mount Calaboth, etc. It's got a full map, flora and fauna, playable races, and monsters. So all kinds of goodies waiting for you inside. I love demiplanes. They're a lot of fun. And so here you go. You've got all kinds of information right off the bat, and you're getting to see quite a few pages. So you get to see 9 pages, which gives you a really good sampling of what's in here, because there's spells, there's magic items, creatures, flora, fauna, and then of course you have this map, which is a lot of fun. A demiplane map is really cool. So you got the Quinnock Fen, the Deeps, Gindon Valley, Mount Calaboth. Yeah, really fun. I like it. It gives you details on each of those things, because it says the Deeps here. One particular lake of liquid ectoplasm is both wider and deeper than any other in the demiplane. Strange creatures live in its depths, but it has not been explored. Even the Quinnock avoid it, claiming to have lost an entire hunting party to its milky depths in the early days of their liberation. So yeah, you get some information, get this timeline up here, and details on Ectoplasm. Let's go down to the end and look at some of this fun astral constructs. So it says astral constructs come in a variety of forms, each of which can be summoned by the summon astral construct spell. So presumably the spell summons them, and then you get these different options. So it says Agile Loper. An Agile Loper takes a form reminiscent of a centaur with glassy black ectoplasmic flesh and a ram's head. The Agile Loper has a land speed of 50 feet and has the following special ability in attack form. If the Agile Loper moves at least 20 feet straight toward a target and hits it with the ram attack on the same turn, the target takes an extra 7 damage on one of its attacks. And then they have to succeed on a strength saving throw or get knocked prone. And then they get the ram attack, of course. Because you have like this basic Astral Construct stat block, and then it's adding these features to it. And then you can have an Alabaster Aerial, or an Amber Tunneler, or an Anathemic Carapace. So 4 different options to blend with this stat block to give you what you're summoning. So really cool. And then they have something called the Thought Stone, the Ferroplasm Armor. There's just a ton of stuff in here, and I love that it's all really updates from 3rd edition. So if you are a fan of those things, if you miss those things, or you just want a new Demiplane to explore, this is going to be a really fun option for you. So look for it under PSC3, Demiplane of Ectoplasm, in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we've got Road to Daggerford for Forgotten Realms, but it's a solo adventure from Elfie Punk. It's $2.99 for 70 pages. And it says it is a game book in the style of fighting fantasy and lone wolf. Jump into the action and level up your character without needing a group or a DM. And there's milestone leveling, so you don't have to track experience after each counter or at the end of adventure. Your level 1 character will progress to level 2. And so you get to make different choices, very choose your own adventure style stuff. I mean, and with hyperlinks, it's really easy because you can see here, here's one of the options that you're on, and then based on your choices, you click the link to turn to a different option in the book. So you get to see 5 pages in the preview. So it gives you the information on how to run it, and then it starts with the adventure here, and then you click continue, go to 75. And with all these books, things are out of order because they don't want you to read beginning to end and get the whole adventure right. Plus, it's branching depending on your choices. One of the branches may not make sense or may not happen. So you got to have the sort of bouncing around to different numbers. But here on this one, it's got 3 options. It says, the hermit yields and begs for his life. I'll tell you anything, just please don't hurt me. If you allow him, he tells you everything he knows. He was hired by a goblin tribal leader known as Zaknik to infiltrate the town. He hired the burglar you encountered in the tavern to intimidate anyone who showed an interest in the Sword Coast Traders Bank. The goblins are up to something, and while he doesn't know more details, the goblins can be reached through a tunnel whose entrance can be found inside the stone hut. Now you must decide what to do with him. So you can let him go and click that link. You can bind him until you get back by clicking that link, or you can kill him by clicking another link. So that's how you bounce around through the book and really just enjoy the adventure before you. So pretty fun. It gives you an opportunity. Maybe you don't get to play as often as you want. Maybe your campaign is not in the Forgotten Realms, so you'd like to have some Forgotten Realms feelings. So there's a number of ways that this could be really fun for you. Supplement your Dungeons and Dragons time, meet those Dungeons and Dragons cravings by giving you things that you can play any time of day, because all you need is you and a computer. So check it out. It's under Road to Daggerford in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Strixhaven Wild Magic from Bonus Action Rainbow. It's 95 cents, suggested price for 4 pages. And it says Strixhaven's curriculum just got more chaotic. Whether you are playing a Strixhaven sorcerer, the game master looking for some magical mishaps, or delving into Furry Gale, the supplement has something for you. With a new spin on the Sorcerer's Tides of Chaos mechanic and a totally revamped version of the Wild Magic Search Table specifically for Strixhaven, magic at Strixhaven will never be the same again. It includes a digital rollable table for Foundry, guide for players using the supplement, guide for DMs, and a link to the map, as well as a bunch of magical mishaps within the table that can be used as inspiration. So I really like the work that Bonus Action Rainbow does. I think it's super creative and entertaining, and really brings fresh things to Strixhaven. So I'm excited to see what we have. The full-size preview wasn't working, so we're going to zoom in on the small quick preview and see what we can see here. So yeah, it's fun little intro here. Got your Tides of Chaos rework, and then this huge table at the end, which is really cool. Let's see if we can get in closer to read a little bit of it. So this is the Wild Search table, and it's been redone for Strixhaven, but there's always possibilities that you can use these outside of Strixhaven. There's always needs for wild surges, or what I call wild effects, because something can go haywire, and you're like, well, what do we do to represent that? We'll just grab a wild search table and roll an effect, because that's going to usually, unless it has like some language in that effect that doesn't relate to the situation, in which case you can just roll again or pick a different one. You don't even have to roll, you can just pick. So it says horrible boils appear on your face. They remain until you wash. You cast Vortex Warp on another hostile creature in range and attempt to teleport them to the nearest available space to you. If multiple spaces qualify, you may choose where. The closest creature to you rolls on this table instead of you. So that's a cool one, kind of turning the tables literally on you. So yeah, lots of fun stuff in here, and that was just the Wild Search table. But I think Bonus Action Rainbow has a real grasp of what Strixhaven can be and is, and so you get just so many cool little things in here, and it's super cheap. I mean, 95 cents to get this Surge table. I mean, you can always use a Surge table, and the other fun stuff in here as well. So nice job. Look for it in the links below under Strixhaven Wild Magic and give it a click. Next we have Strixhaven Arcane Tools for Magical Exams. And so this is from Marco Torres, and it is a collection of magical items and exams for the scholars of Strixhaven. It's $1.99 for 14 pages. So there's 5 new magical items, one for each college of Strixhaven. And it says, but only those students who can prove they have mastered the material will earn access to these wondrous tools. Study hard, pass your exams, and enjoy the benefits of being a scholar at the magic school. So you're getting 5 new magic items along with a mastery exam for students to earn certifications for use of the items. Each item is inspired by the themes and philosophies of its college. And so you've got the Lens of Recall and the Lorehold exam, the Locked Library, and then Thought Lace Oil and the Prismari exam, which has an exam. The exam is called Rainbow Maze. And you've got Coral Fork and the Silver Quill exam, Siren Song Bridge. I mean, these all just sound really Strixhaven-like too, which is cool. And so you've got your intro with your Arcane Tools certification exams and how the entries are laid out. And then basically it goes into, this is the magic item associated with the school, and then here's the final exam. And there's even some maps related to it, and then it goes on to the next one. So really cool setup and stuff going on. So let's see here. So Lens of Recall. This magical lens can come in many forms, but the version used by the students of Lorehold is handheld and has the shape of an ornate magnifying glass. When held in place, the user can focus on a specific object within sight in order to view the history of the object within the space being observed. The magic of the lens views the entire history of the object in the space instantaneously, which can be incredibly disorienting and painful to experience. Lorehold students are trained to focus the magic of the lens and learn to focus the history viewed to a specific time frame. The difficulty in focusing the time frame becomes more difficult the further into the past the wielder wishes to view. On a successful history check, you are able to view a specified point in the object and location's history for a duration of up to 1 minute. Moving the lens ends the effect. A failure causes 1d4 points of psychic damage to you. This ability may be used up to 3 times per day. And then it helps you figure out the time frame. And then you've got this whole thing called the locked library. The private library used for this exam is a large square chamber. In the center of the room is a bookstand illuminated by a skylight directly above, the sole source of outside light. The bookshelves of the library are set up in concentric circles that span out from a central bookstand, with open walkways separating the shelves at each cardinal direction. There are many empty spaces within the shelves where new books can be added or from which old books have been removed. The Lorehold artifact license is located inside a secret compartment at the bookstand's base. 1 hour ago, the professor sealed the compartment by removing a book from its place on the shelves and setting it upon the bookstand in the center of the room. Placing the book back into its proper place on the shelves will magically open the compartment holding the license. So they have to be basically open the secret compartment if they're in the room, and there's a lot more to it. I'm just scratching the surface, and you can kind of see the map of the library. But yeah, that could be a really fun test. You could also make it, a monster encounter. Maybe you have to, if you're taking it out of Strixhaven, you can have this be some sort of library and a keep or a castle. And if you don't get this book back in the right place, you can't get the key or whatever that's in this secret compartment. So a lot of uses for this. These tests in here. There's a rainbow maze. I mean, this just looks really fun. So check it out under Strixhaven Arcane Tools in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Vendors, Taverns, and Scholars for Ravenloft. And it's from Kristen Munson. It's $1 for 12 pages. It says the realms of Ravenloft are full of interesting people, good and bad. Sometimes an adventurer enters a store and then asks the DM, what is the store like? Well, now you have an answer. With this booklet, you'll be able to roll up a new storekeeper with store, tavern keeper complete with a tavern description, and a scholar of the mist, perhaps even a reliable one. Alongside descriptions of the taverns and shops, you'll be able to roll for the storekeeper, tavern keeper, and the scholar, their backstory, personality bonds, and perhaps a juicy secret. So, really cool way to make your NPCs interesting. So yeah, you can see 3 of the 12 pages here. You got your tavern keeper, so you get description of them and their backstory, personality traits, etc. So we'll just go through creating a tavern keeper. So we'll start with the tavern description. We're just going to roll a 1 on all of these, right? Okay, so first impressions, the Rotted Goblin is a dreary place, a squat building, which on the outside looks small, cold, and dark. Its windows are boarded and the door closed. So that's perfect. That's a great way to introduce the tavern. And then on the inside, the tavern is quite warm. A fire roars in the hearth, and patrons fill half the common room. And then you get the tavern keeper table. We're going to roll a 1. A large one-armed muscular man greets you in a deep voice. Hello, traveler. Can I be of service? So you get that, and then you go to the backstory, and then you find out about the tavern acquisition. The tavern has always been the tavern keeper's home. They grew up here and took over when their parents passed. This is the only way of life they know. And then under serving habits, the tavern keeper takes every opportunity to save a copper or 2. The drinks are watery and the food is meager and expensive. And then under personality traits, loyalty, my tavern is my home, I must protect it. And under bonds, I provide for my family, they need me. And under flaws, I am quick to anger if I feel cheated. So you see, like, we basically, I just not, we don't have dice here, so we're just randomly rolling a 1 on all these. Reading the 1s on all these, you get a really nice backstory for, this Rotted Goblin tavern and the muscular sort of tavern keeper who provides for his family, and he's quick to anger, so you just get a full picture. And that's just for the tavern keeper. They're also covering shopkeepers and scholars. So I think for $1 you're definitely going to get your money's worth, because just using those tables even outside of this book for other people, some of them you can't always, like the tavern description, that's only going to really work for a tavern, right? But some of those bonds and flaws and things, you could roll for those for other characters too. So check it out under Vendors, Taverns, and Scholars in the links below and give it a click. Well, that's it for DM's Guild this week. We're going to move on to DriveThruRPG, but before we do, make sure you check out our books. They're listed down there in the video description links as well. We just released our latest book, Swarms of the Multiverse. It's over 180 pages. of fun in print and digital, and it really deep dives into swarms and how to create your own, including 70 brand new creatures and their swarm counterparts, whether they summon swarms, form swarms, command swarms, whatever their connection to swarms is. We've got these new creatures, minimum of 2 pages each, with all kinds of bonus lore, including 4 new Demiplanes, magic items, you name it, it's in there to really flesh out these creatures and help integrate them into your campaign. And they all come with their own adventure hooks that are distinct and different, so that you have a lot of options to really integrate these creatures into whatever you're up to. And there's just all sorts of optional rules in there beyond creating your swarms, so that you can make your swarms more interesting, more powerful, more dangerous. And just the notion of like why they swarm, that's super important to think about, because your characters may ask you why did they even swarm, right? It's not just making it easier to run a bunch of creatures. There's a lot to it, so you should check it out. It's under Swarms in the Multiverse down there. We've also got Feywild Companion, over 150 pages in print and digital for Feywild fun, classes or subclasses, spells, magic items, adventures, monsters, a whole new domain of delight with an archfey. I mean, tons of hours of fun in there for sure. And then you've got potions unlocked, over 100 pages with 30 brand new potions, all with extensive back stories, how to make those potions, different things like how do they taste, how do they smell, so you can engage the senses of your players, new optional rules for potions, vendors, locations that have to do with potions. Everything you could ever want for potions is in there. And then we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets with dragon themed subclasses for every class, other things like draconic gifts and or draconic secrets, I should say, and lair horde magic items, right? You know, just dragon goodness everywhere you look. It's kind of like getting a horde and being able to dig through it and finding all this cool dragon stuff. And then you've got Van Richten's Libram of Lineages, which takes you into how to deal with lineages in your campaign, and optional rules for that, as well as 4 really distinct and different conflict-ridden lineages, and you can voice them on your players too, to shake things up. So it's pretty fun there. Then you got Secrets of the Draugr, which is a blend of the Drow and the Duergar, to give you a brand new race that has its own flavor. And then you've got deities, fortune telling, and some other fun things you can do with that, as well as backgrounds. The backgrounds can be used for other races, not just Draugr. So there's some value in that one too. So check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Also, be sure to click all those links in the video description. Check out all the books we've profiled today. Support these creators. And if you purchase anything after you've clicked a link, you will be supporting this channel with a small affiliate fee. So do your shopping with us if you can. And, as I always say, leave reviews, comments for these creators, encourage them to keep going. And please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it out there with friends, and follow us everywhere at Splinterverse so that you can take advantage of our free content throughout the week and our exclusive discounts on Mondays at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We want to make sure you're in on all the fun that the Splinterverse has to offer, so get in there with us. And speaking of that, we also have a website at splinterverse.com, so you can check that out. It gives you details on all of our books and all the different things we have going on, so you can keep in touch with what we're up to over here. So check it out. Now let's go on to DriveThruRPG. First up, we have Alternate Magic, Optional Magic Rules for OSR Systems by Eric Diaz and Chaos Factory Books. It's $4.99 for 32 pages. Already a bestseller seller in its first week, so that's huge. And it says if you like the basic games and its clones like Old School Essentials, Basic Fantasy, Labyrinth Lord, etc., or even other OSR games, and you want to expand the magic options, you'll enjoy this book. It's got new spellcasting classes, flexible spells, blood magic, random magic and spell points, cantrips and rituals, alternatives for the cleric class, and many other tools. And it's modular, so you can use just a chapter, or you can use it with other chapters, etc. So really fun, helpful. A lot of these older systems, they need like fresh material because people have been playing them for so long, right? So it's nice that there's some modularity to this. So yeah, you've got spell slot alternatives, random magic, memorization alternatives, flexible spells, and then you've got meta magic spells, cantrips, rituals, cleric alternatives, so including alternate spell progression, healing, turning undead, and then new classes like the alternate cleric, white mage, blood mage, chaos sorcerer, pyromancer, and then you've got system and setting ideas, etc. So goes into just some details, and then you get to see the spell slot alternatives, random magic, and corrupting magic in the 10 pages out of the 32 that you get to see. So we'll look in detail at random magic. So randomness adds danger and unpredictability to spells. It is a good fit for a setting where magic is always dark and perilous, but also settings where spellcasters make random mistakes with humorous results. Just be careful to avoid turning horror to comedy or vice versa, unless that is what you're trying to achieve. Especially notice that failed spells can feel anticlimactic and frustrating sometimes. This is part of the bargain that allows the caster to achieve amazing results from time to time, and might make magic feel slower, more ritualistic, and less flashy, which is adequate for some genres, but not all. The 2d6 table below has equal chances of good and bad outcomes. Using it for every spell may become tiresome, so the referee may rule that this is only used when the caster wants to invoke chaos, or something of a similar effect. So, cool idea. And then you've got this table down here, so... okay, so here's the 2d6. So the results, if you roll a 2, you get a spell mishap. 3 to 5, you get a failure. 6 to 8, a success. 9 to 11, strong success. And 12 plus, perfect. Perfect casting. So cool. And then it goes into what those are. So on a mishap, the spell fails and you pay the cost regardless. In addition, there is a chance of a spell catastrophe. And then on spell failure, the spell simply fails without spending spell slots or similar resources. Success, it's normal. It works as expected. Strong success, the spell succeeds in a notable manner offered by the referee. Examples are doubling the duration, range, number of creatures affected, etc. Alternatively, the player can decide the spell costs only half the usual spell points or other resources, rounded up. And then perfect casting, the best possible outcome. The spell succeeds in a spectacular way offered by the referee. You can pick 2 examples from a strong success or triple the duration, range, etc. And then it goes into the catastrophes here, including desolation, flora and small fauna wither and die around the caster. That's the cost. But talks about what happens if you have catastrophes up here. And then another cost is stigmatization. Spellcaster gains a terrible mark on their face for 2d6 days. Yeah, fun options. I mean, I could even see some of these being used in 5th edition. It's really cool to see somebody expanding and doing it in a modular way. So I really like that. So check it out under alternate magic in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Desert Tomb Ruins from Deep Dark Designs, $1.99 for the maps in this supplement, and it's a 24 by 18 battle map that's compatible with any role-playing game and is perfect for printing at home or your local print shop, as well as using in a VTT platform. So it says, lost amongst the endless sands and desert dunes, the squat hexagonal ruin could easily become buried together at any time. For now, though, it still remains visible above the grit. One of its walls has collapsed, creating a secondary entrance to the structure. Within it houses an elaborate sarcophagus with who knows what, or rather who knows who, inside. You can see the fun sarcophagus and some crystals here, a stairwell, a little broken wall. And then it talks about the adventures that this can go with, and some other maps. So you can get those in a bundle down here. But I mean, again, looking at the cover, I mean, this looks really cool. Like, it's very desert-like because you've got all the sand pouring through. You've got these little details that could be like hieroglyphics here. So it could be Egyptian if you wanted, or something along those lines. I mean, I just really like it. I think it's cool. I've always liked the art style of Deep Dark Designs. So exciting, and it's only $1.99. So check it out under Desert Tomb Ruins in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got Emery's Log of Legendary Eminences. Evolve legendary resistances at your table from Raymond O'Connor. and it's $10 on sale for 24 pages. And it was a Kickstarter, and now it's available to purchase. And so it goes into what legendary eminences are. It says they're a powerful ability or feature that becomes weaker or inactive when a monster uses a legendary resistance. So it's really a toolkit to revolutionize how you use legendary resistances at your table. So no longer will players be disappointed by monsters simply choosing to succeed against their most exciting abilities. Now the monster makes a significant sacrifice to keep themselves in the fight, with immediate mechanical and narrative consequences. So there's no full-size preview, but they did give us some stuff to read here that kind of gives you the feel for it. So this Undead Lich here, it says it has 3 legendary resistances per day. Through gruesome bargains struck with dark magic, a lich harbors wicked secrets with undying ambition. After years of bending the foundational forces of reality to its will, this creature has managed to harness power from malevolent planes. While the lich has its legendary resistance available, creatures of its choice within 30 feet of it become subjected to its soul-stealing magic. A creature that enters the area for the first time on a turn or starts his turn there takes necrotic damage, and the lich regains hit points equal to half that amount rounded down. The creature must make a con saving throw, suffering 1 level of exhaustion on a failure. Each time the lich uses its legendary resistance, though, each creature that suffered exhaustion in this way can remove a level of exhaustion. When the lich has expended all uses of its legendary resistance, any levels of exhaustion caused by this go away. So the creature really has to decide, do I want them exhausted or not? So at least something happens other than, oh, that did nothing because they use legendary resistance, which is really boring. I've been in some combats where it was 20 minutes before it would get back to me to do something. So having something else happen is really nice, because it will at least give something going on. Oh, well, you get to remove a level of exhaustion. Awesome. Okay, at least I did something. I made a dent, right? So it's really cool, and it says it was designed for 40 monsters, including 23 monsters with legendary resistance is found in the standard document, and then they added extras for monsters that could use like a single polymorph insurance policy. So you got everything from devils, demons, chromatic dragons, a mummy lord, planetar, vampire, etc. And there's even a video on it down here that you can watch. So really fun. I always get annoyed with legendary resistances, so I like when people try to make an option for you that is not that, or at least tweaks it. So I think you should look for it in the video description links. It's under Emery's Log of Legendary Eminences, and give it a click. Next, we have Everyday Heroes Quickstart Guide from Evil Genius Games, entirely free for you. And it is not marked as 5th edition over here, but it is, from what I understand, using like 5th edition rules to let you play as everyday heroes, people doing things in the real world. And that's pretty cool. And they even have a video. I think it's live on Kickstarter right now, so they have a video all about it. But it was exciting that they're giving this away free, because it's 96 pages. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. So it gives you the table of contents here. So you got character creation, how to make a hero, the different classes. So you've got everything from Brute, Commando, Mastermind, the plans, and Sleuth. And you've got finishing touches, quick start gear, everyday heroes rules. So this is really like, for modern, of course, but it's cool to have this. So it says, Everyday Heroes is first and foremost a game inspired by action cinema and other thrilling tales of adventure from comics, books, and our own imaginations. The setting for Everyday Heroes is the world we all live in, though with plenty of space for you to imagine whatever differences make exciting opportunities for adventure. Whether you want to experience a gritty story of heroism torn from today's headlines, recreate a favorite movie franchise, or throw modern-day heroes into adventures in faraway times and places, Everyday Heroes can get you there. So they give you the framework to build on and flexibility. So it's just letting you jump right in with basically the core rules in this free book. And it shows you how, like, an example role playing, which I love, sort of narrative one, and then how to create your character. I mean, you get to see all the 96 pages here. So you get your classes down here, and you see you're strong, you're tough, you're smart, all those things, the wise. And let's just scroll forward. Feats, skills, combat. I mean, it's beautifully illustrated too. Really works well. You've got information on the Kickstarter, and then you've got your map here for, it looks like they're giving you even an adventure to get started. So 2 jungle maps, and then some of the characters that you're going to run into as you're dealing with that. So I think this is a lot of free stuff. I mean, they have this whole welcome to the jungle adventure in here. So not only is it something that you could, since it's free, you could have you as a DM and then all the people at your table download it and play it and see how it goes. And then, you know, maybe back the Kickstarter, because it seems really fun. And you've got all these different characters like the zombies, and then there's an ancient hunter down here. But yeah, it's even got information on game mastery. And this is really, you know, you don't often get like free previews that are this massive. This is significant in terms of the amount of pages you're getting to look at and figure things out. So let's see, what can we read for you? So Battlefield Medic. You are highly practiced in first aid, emergency medicine, and quickly treating wounds on the spot. You gain the following benefits. When using a first aid kit to stabilize someone, they also recover 1 hit point. As an action, you can use a first aid kit to treat a conscious person adjacent to you. Make a medicine check. If successful, the target may spend 1 hit die to regain hit points. This action cannot be used again on the same person until they have taken a short or long rest. If you find yourself without a first aid kit, you can try to improvise. Make a survival check. If successful, you don't need a first aid kit. Otherwise, you cannot find the materials needed. So yeah, really well adapted to 5th edition. Quickstart explosives, weapons, and so yeah, those different kits. You've got the disguise kit, but you've got car stuff, first aid kit, lock picks, night vision goggles. I mean, there's just so much fun stuff in here, beautifully illustrated. Love even the template with this sort of caution tape almost at the, it's not really tape, but it's like the, you know, when you're in a loading zone or something, they have like this caution paint, you know, they're really cool. And you got the gun side on the page numbers, so they've been really creative even with the layout. So why not grab these 96 pages for free and check it out and potentially support this Kickstarter? I would. It is called Everyday Heroes Quick Start Guide. It's in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Extraordinary Expeditions from Crit Academy. Very well-known group. They have a YouTube channel. They have a lot of successful books, and this looks to be another one. And it's got a $14.99 price on the PDF, and then there's the hardcover book for $39.99, or you can get both for $44.99. And it's 140 pages. Got 3 5-star ratings already. And it says, are you prepared to embark on a fantastic journey to lands unknown? Role-playing games are designed to support us or transport us to a world of fantasy and adventure. Through shared storytelling and world-building, players and their characters set out to explore exotic locations, fascinating people, and solve complex puzzles. Extraordinary Expeditions is a collection of adventures that will do just that. Scour the desolate wastelands for the lost library of Zenith and Athenaeum. Save, escort, and protect villagers to a safe haven while 2 towering titans do battle. Venture into a village completely overrun by monstrous creatures from the far realm. These modular adventures are designed on a flexible framework to be tossed easily into any fantasy setting. Broken down into more free-form design allows you to run them with little prep or easily toss in your own personal homebrew touches to make it your own. So you get 10 modular adventures, 1 for each level from 1 through 10. That's super helpful. Then you get 4 new subclasses, 1 for the monk called Way of the Wild, the ranger gets the huntsman, rogue gets Sawbones, and wizard gets School of the Emerald Conclave. And then you get classic style adventure maps and beautiful artwork. So really cool, exciting that you can get print or digital. you've got to keep in mind, everybody watching this series, that like print on demand is not always available. It's a rarity when you compare it to all the books we see every week. And I always say getting those print on demand books is valuable, because how many people are going to get those? And then if you ever want to resell it, I mean, it's rare. It's not like it's just at Barnes and Noble, right? So I encourage you to buy the print on demand just for their resellability, their rarity later, in addition to the fun of having them and being able to look and feel the pages, right? So yeah, let's look inside. They got lots of stuff in the contents. 24 of the 140 pages visible, but you can see your player class options. Then you've got each of the encounters. So this one's called Collateral Damage. It's got several acts to it, and a conclusion. And then other ones like Alluring Mesas, Don't Kill the Messenger, all the way down to the Hunter. And yeah, I think it's great because you're getting some player options in here with your Way of the Wild and some of these other ones. And then you're getting even some traps here. So there's like Pit Trap, Poison Needle. That's really cool. Sawbone, Wizard Arcane Tradition. So you're getting to see all the subclasses before you even buy the book. And then you're getting into the expeditions right here. So you got Collateral Damage. It says, this adventure is designed to get your first level characters into the action with a bang. The adventure begins with a destructive battle between two epic creatures, more or less destroying the starting town. The GM will want to take a moment to let the characters feel entirely insignificant and small, whilst this kaiju battle sprawls out around them. This will enhance your character's experience and make them feel like they are part of an exciting and epic world that is fantasy role-playing. This expedition consists of one large encounter, but is broken into 3 acts. It is designed for 4 to 6 first-level characters. The story begins with 2 extremely dangerous creatures battling it out. Before anyone can react, the battle has already accelerated, and the whole village is now caught in the collateral damage of these 2 titanic terrors. On the one hand, you have a mindless devourer, a purple worm, and on the other side, an aggressive and angry storm giant who has fallen into barbaric rage and bloodlust. The 2 are locked in a vicious combat and ignore the ants that are the characters in their town. During this initial phase, your characters must not only get themselves to safety amongst these gargantuan creatures, but also be offered the opportunity to help others in the town. So I love that setup, that it's like, we are just the ants. This other thing is going on. It's thrust into our lives. It is sort of like, interrupted. These people are doing whatever their business is, and then these titans are battling. And I love that, because there's so many opportunities for stories, because maybe the characters were trying to accomplish something else, and this is a massive disruption to that. And literally massive, because you've got these gargantuan creatures just pummeling each other. And then you've got all these various opportunities to help people. I mean, it's just fun. And it says, it's designed to be a singular random event to protect your game into a wild world of monsters and mayhem. There's no reason this adventure couldn't be used at any time in early or mid game. So you could use this as a catalyst. So you can scale up the challenges. You can add a plan to ask players to have their characters pick a side and support one of the monsters. So yeah, lots of options to make this even harder. And then some fun flavor text, and then you've got the whole setup down here. And then, I mean, these are no joke. I mean, you've got a lot of material for each of these encounters. A lot of encounters are only like a page or a couple paragraphs. These are full-blown expeditions. I love that. It's more than just an encounter. These are like mini adventures. So I love that progression, completing the expedition. Yeah, this is a significant piece of work here for people. So I'm just gonna read just so you can see, because they always do. Crit Academy always does really good work, and if you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channel, you should. I love their channel and their books, so make sure you support them. But I want to read just some of the flavor text so you can see how good the flavor text is as well. So it says, the late afternoon slowly drifts on this lazy summer's day. In the distance, the clouds of a storm slowly grow around the mountains. People start to bring their washing in and shutter their windows for the night to protect against it. Lightning sparks in the sky and thunder echoes throughout the valley. The storm grows wild and is approaching rapidly. The rain falls hard and heavy from its deep, dark clouds. A rumble shakes through the buildings of the village. At first, people think it's just the thunder. But soon it becomes apparent that no, it appears to be an earthquake of some kind. No one expects it when the gargantuan serpent is hurled through the air and collides with the ground, destroying the main street of the town in its wake. The thick, leathery undulations of purple-scaled flesh slither around and lift the enormous gaping maw of the worm high into the air. From its immeasurable fangs oozes globs of thick acidic mucus, falling to the ground like buckets of slime. Animals caught in the slobber are instantly paralyzed and burnt. The expansive beast smashes into a building and begins to burrow under the surface, shattering it like an eggshell. Its mammoth tail lashes out, taking with it the town's temple and the clerics within. However, it does not get far. From the sky, a bolt of lightning the size of a titan oak tree connects with the lumbering mass of purple flesh. The air smells of ozone and smoke as buildings around the worm catch fire from the intense heat of the blast. Leaping in from the outskirts of town, the 20-foot-tall giant charges its prey. His thick, muscular hands rip into the dense armored scale plates of the serpent as he tries to pull the worm out of its burrow. Suddenly, the ground bursts as the toothy end of the beast attacks the giant. Grabbing the jaws of the beast, he forces the mouth from closing. This only enrages the worm further as it begins to coil its way around him in an attempt to crush the life from him slowly. So you see how exciting that is? This is epic. It's like watching a movie, right? And all of this is playing out as a backdrop to what the characters are going to be up to. And I just think that's a really fun angle for an expedition, encounter, mini adventure, whatever you want to call it. And this is just one. There's 10 of these things in here. So can you imagine how good the rest are? I don't know. I think it's awesome. Fun stuff going on. Cool maps. Just all kinds of good stuff to enjoy and experience. I mean, look at the art down here for this one. I mean, it's going to be fun, and I think the price is great, especially when you can get either a print on demand or digital or both. So you got to check it out. Don't miss this one. It's under Extraordinary Expeditions in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got Fires of Old from Kelfessel's Tales. It's a 10th level adventure, 15 pages, author Philip Alexandris. And it says a fire cult thought long lost from the world of Lakatar has returned. Now they seek to bring their deity back to the material plane, and only a willing group of adventurers can stop them. So it says average party level of 10, approximately one session, 3 hours. And they must accompany this cleric in her quest to purge a resurgent ancient cult of fire. It comes with maps and music. So you're getting art for your NPCs and these really cool looking maps. I mean, those look great. And you're getting some music to go along with it. So always helpful. And you can reuse that stuff. Keep in mind, when you get music and maps, that's bonus because that can be used elsewhere. So you got all your parts of the adventure, quick setup, background, etc. So it says the cult of Eternal Flame is not widely known in Ladakar. The cult existed centuries ago before the astral conflict, and as a result, almost no records of its activities survive. And yet, some of the cult's structures remain. Recently, one of their shrines was discovered by a small group of people who quickly fell under the influence of the cult's deity, Ignea, the Eternal Flame. Under Ignea's influence, the cultists have been praying to her daily, growing their power. Recently, they formed an alliance with the nearby Fire Giant tribe as well. All this activity has not gone unnoticed, however. Angel City, the Jewel of the North, has taken note of the cult's activities. The city's leader, the Wing Lord, as well as the Celestial Council, have decided to send one of their own to deal with the problem, as any further activity by the cult might put the region at risk, and with it, the weather system, keeping Angel City from being frozen. So yeah, that's a great setup for a fun adventure. And I like all these touches of this setting that are coming in through the story here. So, and you just don't often get level 10 adventures. You get those lower tier 1 adventures a lot, but to have a level 10 adventure, that's pretty cool. So check it out under Fires of Old in the links below and give it a click. The next we have Nightshine Mausoleum. It says no eternal rest for the wicked. It's a short side adventure for 4 to 5 characters of 3rd to 4th level for 5th edition. 11 pages from Goblin Scrawl Games. Totally free. It says attacks by the undead are on the rise in and near the swamp. Rumor has it that the swamp was once an elvish settlement, lost long ago to ruin and sunken into the marsh. But one structure, at least, has yet to be consumed by the swamp, and a long-dead cultist of Orcus, buried in that forgotten mausoleum, has returned from the dead. So you've got this fun little adventure, and you've got an unnumbered map that you can use for your VTT as well. So let's look inside. So you can see the entire book, and see here's some of the maps, the different locations, and then you got your monsters, a gargoyle and the ghastly warlock of the fiend, giant constrictor snake, quasit, and some magic items like the warhammer of the devout. So pretty cool. So let's find some stuff we can read for you. There's some flavor text here on the flooded foyer, so let's read that. A small altar in the center of the northern wall of the foyer sits before a beautifully carved relief that covers the entire 20-foot wide wall from floor to ceiling. The relief depicts 3 elves. The leftmost elf is dressed in robes and holding a staff in his left hand. The staff is pointing to the east, and the hand holding it has its 3 middle fingers pointed in that direction. The center elf is holding a sword and shield. The shield is decorated with a stylized depiction of an open door, and the figure holds his sword over his shoulder. Through an impressive use of forced perspective, the sword appears to be pointing north. The rightmost elf is holding a bow. He has 3 arrows nocked, and the bow is pointed straight up. So they have got this little image of 3 elves, each one doing something different, very detailed. I love that. And then, they're clues to a location of a secret door. And there's various things that you can find in this vault. So yeah, some fun stuff here on offer. And to get to be able to read the whole thing and to get the whole thing for free, you don't even have the option to pay for it, is exciting. So check it out under Nightshine Mausoleum in the links below and give it a click. Next, we got Shadow of the Necromancer. It's a 5th edition mini adventure for levels 1 through 3 by Mark Taormino and Dark Wizard Games. It is for 5th edition, but they've also released an OSR version this week as well. So if you play more OSR, you could get that. It's $10 for 20 pages. I will note if you're watching Dark Wizard that you do have this edition also tagged as OSR and OSRIC, so you'll want to tag it for 5th edition in the little checkboxes in your catalog so that people can find it. You do have it in the title, which is helpful, but those checkboxes also help people find it. So it says, fear stalks through the darkness of night in the form of the walking dead. They attack innocent travelers and merchant caravans in the moonlight. Animated skeletons have also been digging up the recently dead and carrying them into the nearby ruins of an old abandoned keep. Rumor spreads fast from lip to ear amongst the locals, whispering that a sinister hooded figure has been seen directing the undead and is taking up residence in that foul dungeon. Your stalwart group of adventurers has decided to take on this challenge. Get the treasure you know is in there and defeat this evil menace known only as the Shadow of the Necromancer. It's designed to play within 1 or 2 sessions and has a classic look and feel, including old school maps. And it's designed, we said, for 48 characters levels 1 to 3, but you get those full color maps and 3 blue maps. You get some pre-gen characters. You can see even the back of it is very reminiscent of early TSR stuff. And here's some of the cool maps, and it's great because look, this map and this map are the same. There's just, this is that old school blue style map. So if you're more familiar with that, more comfortable with that, you have the option. Or if you want to do a more modern VTT digital style map, you've got that. So I love that they are, there's also a video down here you can watch on it, which is awesome. But I love that Dark Wizard Games is giving you 5th edition and Osric options, because people bounce back and forth, they play both. It's always nice to have options. And looking inside, you can see again very reminiscent of early TSR, even the fonts, which I think this is my favorite font they've ever used. And sometimes I miss it as well, because it's just so clean and easy to read, this font, to me anyway. So let's see what we can read in here. Let's go up here, getting the players involved. So here are some options to get the PCs involved in the adventure, or go ahead and use your GM's discretion to create new ones. So the first option, the players have been hired by the locals to investigate strange sightings of a shadowy figure lurking around the old abandoned keep. An ancient enemy is rumored to have risen again. Skeletons and zombies have been emanating from the place. You have decided to take on the challenge and investigate these strange happenings. Number 2, while camping out fireside and squabbling over the division of a measly 10 copper pieces from recent petty crimes, your party notices a small abandoned keep in the distance. Surely there must be loads of treasure there just waiting to be found. So 2 different options, very different from each other, and they have 4 total here for you. But I just love how this feels very like old school, dungeon delve. We got to solve what are these rumors about this place. And again, I love that this is the 5th edition version, but they also have that Osric version if you want that on DriveThru as well. You just click the link in the video description for Shadow of the Necromancer, and then if you click on Dark Wizard Games, it'll take you to their other titles, including the OSR one if you'd rather have that. But I think this is awesome, looks really fun. Give you that classic feeling in 5th edition, and with some great artwork and all kinds of stuff. So as I said, look for it in the video description under Shadow of the Necromancer and give it a click. Next we've got Taverns, Tales, and Trails from Rowan Studio, $2.99 for 64 pages, and it's system neutral or OSR. And it says a magazine of sorts, mostly a collection of art maps and old school fluff based in and inspired by the Bay of Spirits medieval fantasy setting. It's system neutral, but has light use of 1st and 2nd edition D&D. And Rowan Studio, we've covered their maps before, and they're just gorgeous. The art is always gorgeous, so I can only imagine in here in this book you can see some great art. You get to see 24 of those 64 pages, and yeah, look at this artwork. It's just beautiful. So various little things sprinkled together that you can use. You got common terms. You've got this place called the Crown, a generic monarchy with a timeline for it. And then look at this art. I mean, just beautiful. And then inhabitants of the Bay of Spirits, all about those. Some options for adventures, backgrounds and secondary skills. So you can roll here, and maybe the background's a wheelwright or a gardener. There's 100 choices there. And then crests and symbols for the founding clans. Beautiful, beautiful heraldry here. And then, a little wanted poster for people wanting to go settle some new lands. And then you've got a roadhouse with a map of the roadhouse, drinks for it, and then various encounters at a tavern. I mean, it's just a mixed bag of things, which is great. You can just grab this and incorporate different things. So it says, on any given night in any given tavern, roll D8 or choose. So the blue barbarian, a large blue skinned warrior, enters the tavern. Almost everyone laughs. Characters must save versus spells or join in the laughter. If so, the blue barbarian takes offense, particularly from a party of obvious outsiders. Aggression and lunging fists ensue. Blue barbarian goes berserk. Doggy in a corner. Tavern door blows open and a mangy mutt strolls in. The dog trots across the dirty floor to sit facing a far dark corner. Nothing is in the corner but for an unlit oil lamp hanging from a sconce on the wall and an old straw room beneath it. The dog stares, patrons annoyed at first soon depart. All avoid looking at the corner and shuffle out the door in silence. Yeah, that's a fun one, because it could be any number of reasons this dog is behaving this way. And it's going into this corner, right? So it could be, if it was staring into the corner, that would be really creepy. Like, what is it trying to avoid? If it's staring at the patrons, that's also creepy, because it's like, what is it looking at? Why is it staring at me? Why is it behaving like this? Is this really a dog even? And that's just 2 of the 8 options. So really cool. But yeah, I love all this artwork. This it says Merchant Barons, Merchants. Merchant's Gut is a major trade port in the Bay of Spirits and home to the Merchant Barons, 5 families that have grown unfathomably wealthy off the land, sea, and folks of the region. And they have a silver salmon and 2 silver coins against a dark blue field as their symbol. The shields are oval and made from larcher poplar, rimmed with tin or silver. And then the symbol adorns buildings throughout the Merchant's Gut, worn on tunics and shields by members of the Gut's general militia. Certain settlements offer bounties on Gut shields. So, very cool. Love this. Yeah, I mean, just the art alone makes this worth $2.99. It's $2.99 for 64 pages. I mean, that's huge amounts of stuff that you can use in a lot of editions of the game. The things that we read, that could be any edition of the game. So, go for it. Look for it in the links below under Taverns, Tales, and Trails, and give it a click. Next, we have To the Depths by Lunch Break Heroes. It's for 5th edition, on sale for $2.99, normally $4.99, 14 pages. Author Lunch Break Heroes and artist Andy D'Amato says, this salty and bone-chilling adventure, characters find themselves lost at sea and down on their luck. The rugged runner, the ship which is bearing the characters to faraway lands, has been stranded amidst thick fog and jagged rocks. What's worse is it is under attack by a horrifying beast. The cursed monstrosity seeks the sailors' bodies to create an army of abominations and attack the mainland. In order to survive, the characters must uncover the secrets of what lies below the waves and save as many poor souls as possible, lest they themselves never return to shore again. This adventure can take place on any large body of water far enough from land that no one would think to swim back, and is designed for 3 to 6 player characters of levels 2 to 4. So I love this map. It looks really detailed and murky depths here, so that could be really fun. So you get to see 7 of the 14 pages. So you got your adventure hooks, running the adventure, Act 1, Act 2. Yeah, all your different marked locations. So the adventure hooks say the party is on their way to a distant port to enjoy a well-deserved vacation after their previous adventure, or rumors of faraway treasure have caused the party to chart a passage aboard the ship, or the party has been hired as guards for the ship, as pirates have been known to patrol the area. So 3 ways to get you involved. And let's read the flavor text here for Act 2. Standing before you in a wretchedly hunched over position is a grotesque, slimy creature. Its skin oily black, its horrendous claws coated in blood, and its reptilian face bearing wicked fangs all point to this being the true horror that plagues this ship. The abomination stands at 9 feet tall, with rippling muscles exposed under its slimy exterior. It lets out a spine-chilling hiss and proceeds to ravage its potential victims. So yeah, that's a fun enemy. But yeah, I like this. It looks like it could be a really cool little adventure with a fun map for sure. So check it out under To the Depths in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Villains Next Door from Kabooter Games, $9.95 for 85 pages, so quite a few pages. It says villains create conflict. Conflict creates the call to action every story needs. Without a villain, there's no story. It's a collection of bad guys for fantasy games. The book contains dozens of ready-to-use villains, each unique and fully realized. Though created with 5th edition in mind, each villain is designed to be used in any RPG systems. So you're getting, looks like you can use it for OSR or 5th edition. So let's look inside. Get to see 36 pages of the 85. So you get your intro, and then talks about using these at the table, and tiers of play, and then you've got this artwork, and then all the adventure seeds, and then a stat block. So it says use the spy or the commoner for the stat block. And here it says use the common or stat block. So I could see where you could do that with OSR or 5th edition. So let's read about Alicia Horn. It says, the rumor monger, wherever there are people, there's gossip, and wherever there's gossip, there's power. No one has ever felt that flush of helpless shame and anger over a story they know is false, but they cannot rebut. And how do you fight something as intangible and insidious as a rumor, something only you can feel the direct effects of? Acacia Horn realized the power in gossip when her father was destroyed by a tale about him doing business with a crime syndicate. It began small, almost innocently, and nobody knew who even started it, a jest in a tavern, a misunderstood word overheard during a negotiation. Whatever its beginning, it ended with all her father's business partners cutting ties and him in a ditch, after the crime syndicate thought he was using their name to gain clout. Acacia had to fend for herself now after her father's capital was seized over one outstanding debt or another, and Acacia understood the downfall of her father better than anyone else. She had started the rumor herself by boasting to her friends, "Don't ever pluck a flower from my garden again, or my father will have the black dogs on you. Powerful people owe him, you know." She watched the results of the thoughtless remark unfold, horrified but mesmerized. She had caused all this, and nobody even suspected her. She felt guilty, yes, but she also felt powerful for the first time in her life. The veil of civilized society had been pulled back. If mere words could do this, and if truth mattered so little, did she not have a responsibility to steer these people, use her powers for their benefit as much as hers? So yeah, it gives you kind of this fun backstory for Acacia, and then you have some adventure seeds. So it says, after a character wrongs one of Acacia's associates or herself knowingly or unknowingly, she spreads the rumor that they acquired their treasure not by defeating monsters, but by selling information about the local towns so that the monsters could plan an assault and angry mob descends on the group. Love it. Love these story possibilities. That's just one of them. Love the background for these characters. These could be great villains. And we've just looked at one. There's a lot of them in here. Tons and tons of villains for you. In this book, and you can use them in either OSR, 5th edition. Those adventure hooks are really good. You could use those even with other characters. So lots of value here. It's on sale for $9.95. Grab it while you can at that price. Villains Next Door in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Yathuna, Remnants of the Hedrons. And it is from Total Party Knowledge, $15 for 275 pages. It's a campaign setting that takes place on the primordial planet known as Yathuna. It is filled to the brim with dangers, not just by man and beast, but the living planet itself. Discover the world, explore its secrets, and you may take it out before the land devours all. And it's got all kinds of stuff like introduction, history regarding Yathuna, the 5 kingdoms, character options, so you get 64 subclasses, 155 brand new spells, 150 plus magic items, 48 brand new monsters, all kinds of stuff in here. So pretty significant amount of stuff. You can see here the tables of contents with feats, spell lists, magic items, monsters, all kinds of good things. You got your preface, your intro to the setting, and we'll read a little of that because you get to see 10 pages in your preview here. It says Yathuna is a new setting for your world's greatest role-playing game campaign. Though it is a collection of many island continents spread throughout the oceans, Yathuna is filled with varied cultures, people, monsters, and danger. It is home of a few deity constellations that surround it, though it is the land that defines Yathuna. This book is for D&D players and game masters of all levels. This book is filled with surprises for everyone, as there will be plenty of character options for players and lots of lore, monsters, and tables for game masters to use. If you are a game master, this book will help you create a world's greatest role-playing game campaign set in a land filled with adventure, dungeon delving, wilderness exploration, and more. You could set your campaign entirely within one of the 5 kingdoms, have the party track the endless seas, or have the campaigns entirely set within a single dungeon. You will also find brand new monsters and a campaign that can help you set the mood within Yathuna. If you are a player, this book contains new options that will help your character fit perfectly within this strange land. You will find new race options, factions, 64 class archetypes, over 120 spells, backgrounds, etc. So yeah, pretty huge amount of things on offer here, and a whole new setting to wrap around it. I mean, even just 64 archetypes and 48 monsters. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to explore for $15 and 275 pages. So look for it under Yathuna in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Zavoas, the Hyena Men of Zul by Zielzaddy, $3.95 for 34 pages. Authors Cliff Dunn and Scott Coventry. The feral feline form humanoid Zavoas, or hyena men, haunt the wastes of Zul seeking battle and scavenging for prey. Natural predators, Zavoas, savor the thrill of the hunt. There are new species of gnolls, and they are the most numerous and mostly universally feared of Zul's humanoid races, inhabiting wastelands, deserts, grasslands, woodlands, and mountains. And now you can use them as villains, NPCs, or even play as one in this book. So you've got all kinds of stuff, new clans, adventure hooks. You can play as one of these as a player character. So just very versatile. And we've been looking at a lot of Zielzaddy's work because they've got, the mega continent of Zul and the free city of Vedashar drip strategy going on, where they're releasing a little bit for those settings each week at very low prices to get you into the setting before they release everything, and then you can kind of get familiar with it. A lot of times we buy these books that have everything all at once, and you skim it, you don't read everything. But if you're following along in the strip strategy and buying each of the books at super low prices, then you're going to really have time to absorb each one and focus on each one, so that you're getting that tapestry of the whole setting, because you've spent time on some of the NPCs, the locations, the magic items, the races, the monsters, and you're weaving it all together more easily because you've got that deep knowledge. And even if you don't use it for Zul or Vedashar, you've got other places you can use these things in your homebrew settings or existing settings. So very cool. And this is one of the biggest ones they've done, 34 pages. So you can see here, there's the different history, personality, language, combat, society. So a ton of pages on the culture. And then you've got different clans like the fire jumpers, the dangling eye, and then a subspecies, and then some adventure hooks. And then all kinds of information if you want to play as a Zavoa. It's even got, names and how to come up with the name of the character. And you get to read all those pages in this preview. So before you even buy it, you can read it. And so we've got information on their language, their combat. I mean, all different stat blocks, challenge rating 2 there, challenge rating 1, 2, various ones that are going to come up against challenge rating 3. Then there's this amulet of burning night, robe of ancestors. And then you got the subspecies, all the way down to the race down here at the very end. So a whole section on that and role-playing tips. I mean, Zielzaddy and Cliff, they always do like the extra. They give you that extra stuff, like how to role-play it, how to deal with its spirituality, how to name it, pages and pages of information. A lot of these books, they'll just squeeze it all in a page or whatever and just lightly touch on it. But Zielzaddy and Cliff are always trying to give you that extra detail, which I appreciate, because they don't have to do that, and they do. And their adventure hooks are always these big, nice adventure hooks, almost full encounters. So that's also very cool. So let's go back up here and read about their language. So although many individual Zavoas are familiar with and proficient in the common tongue, they are most famous for their loud speech patterns, which resemble a disturbing version of the human laugh. Those sounds are individualistic. Every Zavoa can be identified by its unique laugh sounds, but Zavoas have a rich range of vocal calls, including loud whoops and giggles. And in intimate social situations, Zavoas will groan softly to one another. Zavoas also groan whenever they approach something of interest, much like a house cat encountering an object of curiosity. Groans are also meant for adult Zavoas to communicate with their kittens. These calls are generally higher in pitch and more musical, so as to be reassuring to Zavoa young. In Zavoa speech, low frequency sounds are more threatening, while higher frequency sounds are more submissive. So very cool. I love that there's even detail on the language, because you just don't get that. You get like, oh, they have their own language, but what does it sound like? Right? Now you know. This is giving you that detail for sure. I want to see if I can read one of those magic items for you. So yeah, here we go. The Robe of Ancestors. It's very rare. This ancient robe of softened hide is decorated with blood-written runes representing the names of noteworthy ancestors. The rune must be placed on the robe by a shaman living during the ancestor's time. After the rune is written upon that Zavoa's death, they may be summoned by any caster who can read the Zavoa language. The ritual casting involves 12 hours of chanting accompanied by a blood sacrifice. While the robe is worn, the caster may call upon the spirit of any ancestor whose rune is on the robe. Once called upon, the ancestor communes with the spellcaster, but for a longer duration. Additionally, the spirit may answer as many questions as it wishes. Consult the table below to determine how many questions the spirit will answer. Once the ancestor has completed its communing, their personal rune disappears from the robe, and they may no longer be contacted. The robe of ancestors can only be used in this manner once per new moon. And then you've got the effects. That's a fun item with these little ancestors kind of helping you with some divination. Really, really cool. Yeah, I like this book. It's a lot of fun. You get all this information, you know, whether you're a DM or a player, you're going to get something. Just a lot to offer, and it's going to deepen your understanding of the free city of Adashar and Zul, the mega continent, at the same time. So very cool. So check it out under Zavoas in the links below and give it a click. And that was our last new title, so we're going to talk about our exclusive discount next week. It's going to be on Rocks Fall Everyone Lives, a roguelite-inspired game show adventure for 4 level 5 characters. And it's really fun. It's normally $2.99, but we're going to have a discount for you Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'll just read a little bit because I want to tease it, but we'll talk more about it next week. You wake up in the center of a circus run by a mad god to make you play in their blood sport for the amusement of the multiverse. The adventure contains 60 unique challenges for our hapless contestants, testing them as fighters, thinkers, and talkers. Roll the dice and see which of the 1 million different adventures you can get to try to survive. So it's a lot of fun, this one. And it's 27 pages. Normally $2.99, but it's not going to be $2.99 for you if you're paying attention and joining us in the Splinterverse at Splinterverse on all the social media channels. We'll have that Money Saving Monday discount for you this coming Monday. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and share the video, like the video, leave a comment. We will respond to all comments. And check out our latest book, Swarms of the Multiverse. It's so much fun. There's so much good stuff in there. And it's over 180 pages. It's listed in the links below, as well as all of our other fun books that we released in 2021. And click those links, support all these creators, purchase those books, and do your shopping with us to help support the channel. But overall, thank you so much for watching and supporting these creators. I love seeing what they're doing each week. And if you are a creator, keep it up. There are people like me out here that want to see what you succeed and what you're up to, so we can talk about it here and enjoy your work. So keep going. You've got this. And until next time, happy adventuring.